So joining me now from her home north of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan is my friend Kelly Lamb and the newest Rebel News contributor. Thank you, Kelly, so much for joining us.
I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here, Sheila. Thanks for
Now,
having
I think you could be a bit of a new face to some people, but I think to like longtime Rebel viewers, you're not all that new. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and sort of how you came to, I guess, where you are today. Not in particular how you came to be working with us at Rebel News, but just sort of how you ended up in this place in your life and on the internet.
Fair enough. Well, I'll try to keep that brief. Brevity has never been my strength, so no
That's
promises.
okay.
But I
Ezra's
guess
my boss. I'm okay with. I'm used to that.
fair enough. Fair enough. Basically, I started getting interested in politics when I was young, but I was a bit of a lefty, full disclosure, and dealing with health issues and seeing a lot of poverty and stuff. You always want to be compassionate and believing that narrative. And I started having a big personal shift in sort of the 2017 to 19 region. Started a YouTube video in mid-July 2018, and then from there ended up running for politics for the PPC, People's Party of Canada, in 2019 in my writing. And from there, just continued to delve into this idea of sort of monologuing on political and social issues. And Sheila and I were talking a bit off screen about, how great it is to do something for a living that you actually just you're ranting at home about the news anyway. You might as well do it on camera and have a little more structure to it. So I just started making a YouTube channel, which was small, but it grew, and did a bit with the Rebel, a little bit of musical gigging here and there, and took some time off for health and wasn't sure where it was going to go. And had a surgery, and now I'm back and sort of was just trying to decide how my life would go. And this just sort of happened. So here we are now, a Rebel contributor. And I'm really excited about it. Really, really great people to work with. So that's the best short, that's probably the best short summary I've ever done. It usually takes far longer than that.
And I kind of like that you come from the left because I think right in the left we care about different or we care about a lot of the same things, but our solutions are different, right? A lot
Yes,
of the people
exactly.
on the left, they say they care about the poor. I care about the poor too. I was one. I grew up not a child of privilege whatsoever. And for a lot of people on the left, they think that just taking other people's money and throwing it at the problem is the way to be compassionate. Um, because those poor people, they just can't figure it out for themselves, you see. And for
Yes,
me, coming at it from the right and having lived that experience, I say, no, we just need opportunities. We're not
precisely.
hardworking. We just need everybody to get out of our way.
Yeah,
And so,
that bigotry of soft expectations, I find, is a big thing, as well as just the approach to government, believing the government has the answer, bigger government, more policy. That's never the answer. The government, I am learning, does not do a very good job. So either they have terrible intentions or they have good intentions, but they just suck at what they're doing. So if you hand it over to the government, chances are they're not going to do as good of a job as a smaller charity or a grassroots group of people or regular citizens. So it really started to dawn on me how much I was being duped by flowery language and essentially wolves in sheep's clothing. That's probably the biggest part that I try. I think it's even in my Twitter bio, just really warning people to stop. Canadians are very easily duped by nice
yeah.
language. I don't know what it is with us, but we are just so, oh, well, that sounded real compassionate. I'll just dive into that. But there's very little empowerment in these types of policies. And that's really what got me awakened to just, I guess I'm a classical liberal, but ultimately I'm a conservative now because everything's moved so far to the left that none of the traditional labels even matter anymore. But I'd like to think I'm at least just common sense. And, that's not a common thing anymore, unfortunately. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Canadians have made being nice, or we think being nice, like, or being
yeah,
not perceived as nice by the rest of the world, that's our identity. And so we just want to do nice things. And for a lot of people, being nice means giving other people's money and then patting yourself on the back for it, right? Like it doesn't make
it's
any
an
sense.
interesting ideology. And I feel like there's a lot of passive aggression in our niceness. That's what I'm really learning with this whole pandemic stuff is there's a lot of passive aggression and sort of this gentle, we're going to say sort of nice things, but you can tell that we're going to judge you really hard underneath it all, but with a really big smile, right? I'm
Yeah.
seeing that a lot. So I'm starting to question the nice narrative, but that's a whole other discussion altogether. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of that like niceness is cloaked anti-Americanism a lot of times. You see the
Don't even get me
Americans.
started.
I know. We see the a lot of the left in Canada sees Americans as like brash and rough around the edges, and they
Yeah,
see individualism as selfishness.
yeah,
And whereas, a normal person might say, well, wanting what somebody else has worked for, isn't that the selfish viewpoint, not the person who wants to keep it?
right. Right, you
Yeah.
you might say that, yes, but again, that's, the anti-Americanism part is something that I've definitely noticed since I was younger, even before I got into
Yeah.
politics. I remember thinking, "Why were people so hard on the States?" I liked their patriotism growing up. I always thought we needed a little more of that in, our nation, and now I've learned a little more nuance, and I don't think I've changed my mind on that, so
Well, and I think too that sort of distinguishes the West as sort of I would say we are a bit of a distinct society, a distinct culture from the rest of
mm,
Canada because I think we are more closely aligned with that rugged individualism of the Americans than that like collective niceties of the Laurentian overlords
I
in
would
Toronto,
concur
Montreal, Ottawa.
entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
If you'd like to get access to my show as well as other great TV style shows too, like Ezra's Nightly, Ezra Levant Show, and David Menzies' Friday night show, Rebel Roundup, just go to rebelnews.com/subscribe. That's rebelnews.com/subscribe.